I would like you to imagine living a lucrative career at Microsoft, one of the largest corporations in the world, to return to your homeland, or with a vision to transform education back in your home country. This is the story of Patrick Awuah, who did just what I just described, founding a school called Ashesi University in Ghana with the purpose of cultivating ethical leaders and innovative thinkers. And I would like you to use his story, because his story basically, his journey or his story exemplifies how one individual, one who has determination and passion, can have profound impact or can ignite profound change. Many people feel inadequate, and particularly our brothers and sisters from the African diaspora community. Sometimes we see the problems so big, so massive most of the time, and I would say that the friends and family and acquaintances that I know, typically they will come to Africa for vacation and then maybe stay to build their homes or whatever it is, and then after like 2 weeks they've had it right on the neck. It's just too much, the frustration, the headache and everything. The mistake they do is that they just, like I used to do this, we just complain and compare ourselves with developed countries or advanced countries that we live in, and it ends there. Then we pack our bags back to Europe or United States or wherever we call our host destination. Then we leave, and it keeps going on and on and on and on and on, with no lasting impact, no lasting change. My question always is, the dysfunction that you saw when you went back to your home country in Africa, it could be Nigeria, it could be Tanzania, it could be Kenya, it could be anywhere else. The dysfunction you saw, who do you think should solve it? I've always asked myself that question. If you've returned maybe a couple of years and the cycle is the same, who do you think should solve that dysfunction? And there's no right or wrong answer in this. I just want you to ponder about it. Who should solve who should solve the inefficiencies in healthcare? Who should solve the inefficiencies in education? Who should solve the inefficiencies at the port and other places? Maybe your mind will be government. But most African governments are so overwhelmed with plenty of problems that if we're going to wait for them to come around and solve all these kind of problems, it probably may take 10,000 years. It may not happen in our lifetime. And most of us also think that somebody else must solve the problem. Oh, this is how it is done in America. Why is it not happening here? And sometimes we come in with a little bit of a chip on our shoulders, right? A little bit of arrogance and knowing all that kind of thing. And that doesn't help. But the angle I want to focus on is how, no matter who you are, no matter your level, if you have a passion and a heart to bring transformation, no matter who you are, you can bring transformation. You don't have to be the highest. You don't even have to be the best at it. It's just that determination and a willingness and ability that I can do this. Or I would want to start this movement or this drive to achieve this goal. You can. And, so basically I'm just going to use what Patrick has done with Ashesi University to just inspire and motivate you, so that you don't feel that you are helpless. There's nothing you can do. There's a whole lot you can do, my brother or my sister. There's a whole lot you can do to bring transformation and change, particularly to the continent of Africa. At a minimum, to your country of heritage, there is a lot you can do. So basically, Patrick got a full scholarship and went to Swarthmore College in the US. I think it's in California, if I'm not mistaken. And he did his bachelor's in engineering and economics. Then when he completed his studies at Swarthmore College, what he did was he gained employment, his first employment at Microsoft as a software engineer. Then he rose through the ranks and became a program manager. And the program manager, I think at that time he was working within the team that had to do with, I think, dial-up internet technologies. So those times we had dial-up when, most Gen Zs don't know dial-up internet. Just the thing will just go, that noise before the internet connects. Most people will not be able to relate to this, but that's what happened. So that's the team that he worked at Microsoft. And he did, phenomenal, got phenomenal results working at Microsoft. Then in 1997, he decided to leave Microsoft to pursue further studies. So he went and enrolled for an MBA at one of the most prestigious schools in America at that time, and it still is today. That's the High School of Business at UC Berkeley. That's University of California, the campus in Berkeley. And he completed in 1999. So whilst he was pursuing that program, this is where the passion for education began. And I think Patrick basically maybe saw the level of excellence in education, particularly probably as it relates to UC Berkeley, and decided, why can't my home country, Ghana, have such great education? Why? Because I think his aim was to address the educational needs of Africa. Maybe at that time, maybe Ghana, but the educational needs of Africa. And I think his vision was fostering a new generation of ethical and entrepreneurial leaders. If you'll be anywhere close to education in Africa, like indigenous training, most of our training in Africa, particularly our colleges and universities, they are not fit for purpose. Okay. Since I returned, there are people that I've had to hire locally to help one way or the other, professionals, college graduates. And the result has been a mixed bag. Actually, mixed bag is an understatement. I would say 80% not good, 80% disappointment, and possibly 20% good. That's my experience. And you realize that for instance, analytical thinking skills is a huge challenge for many African college grads. People don't think analytically, or analytical thinking, critical thinking. Actually, critical thinking it's even more pronounced than just the analytical thinking. The ability to solve complex problems. That natural flair that people want to take up responsibility of their own and run with it. They are not just coming to you as the boss with problems and challenges. I remember I hired one guy, and I hired him and we were working, and every morning, all that he come to me, oh, sir, this is the problem. There's a problem here. There's a problem there. There's a problem here. So it got to a point I got a bit ticked off. So one day I just called him, hey, look, I hired you to solve problems, not to identify problems. So this is how we're going to roll. If you are going to work with me, then from tomorrow, anytime you come to me with a challenge or a problem, I want you to propose 3 solutions for every problem you identify. That's the only way I will be able to work with you, because you so easily, and sometimes he comes smiling and laughing that he's bringing problems. And I don't blame him. I didn't blame him, but I use that as a lesson for him to know that you are hired. In that case, him was hired to solve problems, and difficult problems. And the more problems he takes off my table, the more I will appreciate him as an employee. That is a major missing part in our graduating students. Then the next one is Are you interested in connecting with expert professionals from the diaspora community? We've built something special, a platform called Find Diaspora Experts. This platform helps you connect with top-tier African diaspora experts to get advice over a video call. The use cases for such a platform are many, but let's just run through a few. The first one is this could be used as an expert resource for corporate training. It could also be used as a resource for keynote speaking engagements, also for executive coaching, for special consulting services, and then last but not the least, as a pool of expert talent for recruitment. So if you are interested in being the first to know when we onboard new experts or when we launch new expert-led cohort-based courses or training programs, then click the link in the description below to join our early access list. Thanks, and let's jump right back into the video. See you there. Ethical leadership. Look, a lot of people don't follow ethics in Africa, period. I would say quick schemes, cutting the corners, underhand deals is just rampant. But I feel the same way, the way I feel now, I think that's how probably Patrick felt, to create an ecosystem or a new paradigm where graduates that are coming out of school have some degree of ethics baked into them. My work in Europe, particularly UK, and later on in the States, showed me one thing. These people are not overly religious, particularly UK and Europe by large. Europe is pretty much agnostic. They are not that religious. In Africa, we are very religious, very religious, sometimes overly. I'm not against that at all. But sometimes there's a disconnect between our religiosity and our ability to have positive or ethics, to ability to do things ethically. That disconnect mostly baffles my mind, because when you take the Bible, everything in the Bible talks about ethics. But we don't follow that. That's not going to be that's not my argument today. We can leave the argument for another time, or we will leave it for the theologians. But I'm just using that to make a point that ethical leadership lacks in Africa, particularly. Actually, it's not. I was going to say particularly the youth. No, particularly everywhere, right? So Patrick saw that as a need to address, to build an institution where the students come out, not only being impacted with academic knowledge, but also ethics baked into their psyche. Okay, so to me, that is what. So I think under Patrick's leadership, Ashesi became or has become a recognized voice of higher education. Because Patrick actually left the US and started Ashesi University in Ghana in 2002. I understand with just 30 students. Today, Ashesi University is the gold star of education in Ghana. Actually, in Africa, that school boasts of students from every nook and cranny on the African continent. It has, I don't know, but I don't know about the details, but the last time I asked around, it's like almost half the school, it's not, almost half the population of the school is outside of Ghana, from different parts of Africa. Why? Because of the quality. And I'll share this. I told you about the 80-20 split between folks that have directly worked with me since I came to Ghana. Of all the people that have worked with me, I'll single out 2 people who have worked with me in the past. They no longer work with me. They've gone to do bigger and greater things, which I'm very proud of, because I became an integral part of their career, and they recognize it even up to today. Right? There were only two exceptions, or who shocked me, because when I came back from the US, back and forth, I would be going from Ghana, travel to US, back and forth until, finally I made that plunge, that move. These two guys, the moment I got them and they worked for me, they hit the ground running from the first day. Every other employee I've needed to, coach, train, mentor for a while before they hit the ground running. There's nothing wrong with that. There's always room for mentorship. I'm only making that distinction to let you know the impact of what Patrick did. So I was shocked, right? After going through a bunch of people who couldn't deliver, I was shocked that these people just came in and just hit the ground running like that. Everything. Digital skills, analytical skills, people skills. It was amazing. Teamwork, ethics, fantastic. So as I asked around, they said, and I began to talk to friends and colleagues that, hey, these guys are different. Oh, they said, oh, you don't know? If you get graduates from Ashesi University, you can go to bed. You can sleep, basically, because they've been so well trained. Then the more I researched, or the more I asked around, the more I got to know that, frankly, as high as unemployment rate is in Ghana, the unemployment rate for graduates from Ashesi University is almost zero. In a country where unemployment rate is probably 30-40% for college graduates. For Ashesi students or graduates, it's literally zero. I was shocked to hear about that. Today, I hear even for internships or for companies that want to get Ashesi University interns, they scramble and fight over each other to get their students. So whilst I was working with these people, they told me that in the school, when the time comes for them to write exams, be it final exam or whatever exams, there is no invigilator to come and stand to check whether they will not copy from each other or whether they will not be cheating in the hall. There's nothing like that. They peer monitor themselves. That's how they are trained. So that's where the ethical leadership thing it comes in. The system has been programmed that it will make it such an embarrassment for a student to want to cheat in the exam hall. It's just such an abomination that they don't even think about it. Why? Because one man saw how it was done in the US, particularly maybe in UC Berkeley or Swarthmore College. Maybe that's what they do. And he decided to bring that back home. And that has worked like magic. That has worked phenomenally. Today, Ashesi University has students from all across Africa and possibly beyond. Why? Because one man spotted a gap and decided he can make a difference. I'm not saying to trivialize it. I think he went through a lot of hoops and battles to get where he is. Everything good takes time, and everything good requires hard work and determination. Nothing good comes easy. And I believe if you're in the diaspora and you complain, you come and complain, look at all the areas. There's a lot of inefficiencies in healthcare in Africa. It's terrifying. A lot of inefficiencies in government sectors, a lot of inefficiencies in different agriculture, so many places. But could I beckon you to say that instead of us being quick to judge and compare ourselves to the Western world, can you begin to see opportunities whereby your life could make a difference? Because one person indeed can make a difference. Today, under what Patrick has done, Ashesi has become a gold star. He has transformed education, higher education in Ghana. And he's a gold standard of education in Africa. I think Ashesi and possibly maybe Covenant University in Nigeria and the likes are beacons. And this has translated in him. I think he's won so many awards because he took that step. I think in 2015, he won the award with the MacArthur Fellowship, which is very, very rare, possibly the first Ghanaian to ever win that award, very prestigious award. In 2017, he was awarded, he won the, I think, World Innovation Summit for Education Prize, where they celebrated him for global excellence in education. And he's also been recognized as one of the 50 greatest leaders globally by Fortune magazine. So what am I saying? Patrick, by that action, that step he took, has significantly impacted higher education in Africa by inspiring or creating new leaders who are committed to ethical conduct and innovative thinking. That is just one little micro niche he identified and made a difference. My question is, what are you going to do? And in this day and age with technology, sometimes you don't even have to take the drastic step of what Patrick did by, physically moving yourself and your family to Africa. Today, you can do many things without moving anywhere. So I'm just throwing this as food for thought to think about it. If you found this video useful, impactful, I would want you to subscribe to this channel, sign up for the notification so that anytime I drop content like this, you will be notified. And also, if one of our passions on this podcast is to make people who are excelling, or African diasporans or diaspora returnees who've done things or achieved greater things or greater impact, we want to showcase them because we don't see most of them. We don't see those stories. So if you know of any, you can drop that in the comments, or I'm dropping a link to a form in this video that you just click on the form, just submit any detail that you have about them so that we can follow them up and share their story to inspire the next generation.